Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond, and we're back with a full complement. I am Alex Caldwell-Kelly. Joining me, as always-ish, my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hello.
How you doing?
We're so close to being done with Uncle, and honestly, it's bittersweet.
I'm gonna miss him.
Now.
I'm gonna miss Napoleon Solo. This is the last full 60s Uncle. We've still got the 15 years later affair. Which we'll do next
Plus,
time.
you know, the sort of maximum cancellation reboot movie.
Yeah.
The movie rapidly approaching a 100% cancellation rate.
But this is How to Steal the World, which is the movie that they made of literally the last episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. because they cut that off mid-season. It got a bit too silly for them in season 3, so they made season 4, and then the network executives pulled the rug out from under Robert Vaughn and went, nope, no more Uncle. You stop screening on this one. So the back half of season 4 is like lost to time, and what we ended up with was this, How to Steal the World, which is like a two.
Kind of a fitting wrap up. Actually, it ends in an interesting way, as we'll see.
Yeah, I thought this was a remarkably good send off to Uncle. When it's all said and done. I also think that this is not even just I'm going to put my flag in the ground here. I reckon this is not even just a good Uncle movie. I think this is a good movie. Yeah, it's pretty decent.
It's a strong stance, but, you know, for a movie with
2.9
on Letterboxd, no ratings anywhere else.
What the fuck is Letterboxd? I don't read that shit.
It's a 5.3 on IMDb. Out of 10.
Yeah,
but what's it going to get on the scum score, the only score that matters? We will find out together.
Right.
That's right. But so we begin 40 miles east of Macau in Southeast Asia, where once again, and we've learned this from Bond movies, right? Sinister refugee organizations. If an organization says something like, it's the International Committee for the Widows and Orphans of Refugees of Traumatized
Brotherhood of Everyone
whatever.
Being Friends Incorporated, actually.
100% those people are trying to kill the Queen, steal some gold. That's Wet Blofeld's front. There's been 5 different things where a nefarious refugee organization is happening. But we start with a gunfight at the office of the Legitimate Refugee Association. And at this point, we've been used to weird Uncle opening sequences. This one seems actively inimical to making a movie. It seems actively hostile to Uncle, to the Man from U.N.C.L.E. We get the sort of big starring freeze frames on Robert Vaughn and David McCallum. One of them is out of shot, the other one is out of focus.
Perfect.
Yeah, because they're trying to pause this action sequence, which also doesn't really help the action sequence, to be honest. But yeah, it's not a great title sequence, but a shitty title sequence is what Uncle's all about.
That's
true.
Right. Solo and Kuryakin are in a gunfight with a guy called Webb, who escapes by just sort of diving out a window onto an awning, getting into a Jaguar E-Type driven by a beautiful woman.
Yeah, this red Jaguar E-Type driven by a sexy lady pulls up, and I'm like, oh, yes. Okay, the movie has begun.
Yeah, there's
absolutely.
a femme fatale involved here.
Immediately.
So,
and the boys give chase at a car and then get perfectly blown up.
Yes, a guy who they had already shot sort of reaches out from beyond the grave to fire a pre-positioned grenade launcher at their car, destroying it. And then you get 2 consecutive shots of Vaughn and McCallum hurling themselves laterally into shot.
They use the sideways ejector seat from one of the previous movies.
Exactly, they've just been blown perfectly horizontally away from this thing.
The sexy lady driving the E-Type Jaguar is Mrs. Kingsley, by the way, and she is
we
married.
Don't know yet. We don't know that
we
yet.
do, because Webb says, thank you, Mrs. Kingsley. She is
fine.
married to Uncle Agent Mr. Kingsley.
Mr. Kingsley, the Uncle Agent.
As we now learn, as we cut to UNCLE HQ HK.
Yeah, because they even managed to make Hong Kong look like shit. They give it the traditional New York looks like shit establishing shot.
Yeah, it says New York, and I'm like, it says Hong Kong, and I'm like, is it? Is that?
New York? Yeah, that's just New York for a separate angle. That's the same building.
Yeah, the New York City of Hong Kong, where they have a parallel uncle office with everything the same. They have a Waverly brackets Hong Kong who's like more irascible.
Yeah, is this could the guy playing Waverly, like, did he die? Could he not do this scene? Is this one of those extra scenes they shot?
I'll be honest. We see Waverly in a few extra scenes, and he's checking out.
Yeah,
he's not well.
I think he's getting a bit old to do these. Yeah,
sort of audibly slurring his lines. Yeah. I mean, kind of everyone fluffs their lines in this. It has a bit of a sort of a last day of school vibe.
Yeah,
but
Waverly ending every movie by looking at the camera and being like, "I'm gonna die soon," is finally starting to catch up with him. The poor bastard.
So the boys meet Waverly brackets Hong Kong. And then
he just kind of yells at them.
Yeah, he's like, because Kingsley is an uncle agent and he's gone missing. And he's like, nobody knows what the deal is or why his wife is suddenly attacking them. And they're searching his office right now. And there's like an uncle agent and a secretary searching the office. And they find this.
This is one of my favorite things. They find this capsule and the guy goes, "Don't touch it." Immediately touches it and opens it. So like his only beef there was like, no, your womanly hands could never like get in fucking gassed. Right?
But he opens it and then there's a jump cut and it disappears. We are later told that like this is meant to be the capsule dissolving. I thought this was an editing mistake.
I wrote the magic of editing. Yeah, it's literally he opens it and we get Man from U.N.C.L.E. classic. A gas is involved. I see a little bit of vapor coming out of that thing, and I go, "Fucking perfect, let's go." And then it just like hard cuts to the exact same shot, but without the canister. Like it's a close up on his hand, and it looks horrific.
And they just kind of stare into space for a minute, and then they come in to report to like
as fucking Waverly brackets Hong Kong is chewing out Ilya and Solo. The dude who found the capsule comes into his office and is like high as balls.
Yeah, do you see what this says about our society? That when he says
kind of a vapor,
he's referring to a gas, to an object, whereas we, in our benighted age, would take the line
kind of a vapor
to refer to the person vaping.
Oh, yeah.
I think it says a lot about how we're on our phones
these days.
And
I'm on my phone much of the time. It turns out I wrote down that this scene was called Battle of the Scenery Chewers because both the gassed fella and Hong Kong Waverly have like one scene, one opportunity to just really get their fucking names out there in the acting world, and they pull out every conceivable stop. He's like, Waverly is like, Hong Kong Waverly is like yelling like he's a businessman asking for good numbers the entire time. It's like so staccato.
And what's really funny is the guy, essentially, the direction here is you go into your boss's office and you give him an Arrowwood trip report, right? Well, sir, it's a clean, mellow high, right?
But it's like the shot is so close to his face as well as slightly upwards.
This is a recurring problem in this film. It's like there's so many extreme close-ups.
Not a problem. Perfect cinematography.
And what this guy says is, it's fucking sissy hypno gas, is what it is.
It's the gas that makes you submissive. It's poppers.
Yeah, we sniffed this, and like our assholes dilated to fuck for one thing, but also we were extremely suggestible.
Put it down, Edwards.
For a minute.
Yeah.
We were like extremely sort of like we were waiting for instructions.
There's on some of this shit in New York. Let me fucking tell you.
He was there like he was shut the fuck up. He comes in on the scene. He's like, "Yeah, we inhaled this gas and." Oh, we were just waiting for someone to give us instructions and give us orders. I'm sorry, I had a bit, but I got completely sidelined by the New York reference and fully forgot where I was going.
Yeah, this girl from Pittsburgh was there. She made me smell the stuff. I was very suggestible. It was very good.
Beat me in a fucking arm wrestling contest.
What?
She's transsexual.
Okay, so find Kingsley.
And then, but the way that he tells them to find Kingsley is the funniest fucking thing in this scene by not a small margin. He doesn't have a projector in the traditional sense. What he does is he flips on the light of a backlit family photo sized headshot of the actor playing Kingsley that he just keeps on his wall ready to like illuminate at a moment's notice. That's the only thing that's illuminating. He has a light up picture of his boy just ready to go on his wall. It's perfect.
So good. There's a number of things in this movie that are like recurring. I would call them a bit at this point because there's no way that this isn't ridiculous to the people making it as well. And one of them is that every single photo is just like a glossy actor's headshot, no matter if it's supposed to be like a civilian or like, it's just so good.
Yeah, so we managed to get this like surveillance photo of her perfect like 8x10 glossy.
Incredible glam shot, like angles and everything perfect. It's so good every single time.
We know how Ilya and Solo work. They've got to find Kingsley, so of course they go and speak to his sexy wife, Mrs. Kingsley, who we've just seen.
Solo literally goes to this man and he's like, how bad do I want to fuck this guy's wife? And the guy goes, so bad it makes you look stupid. Perfect. Next scene.
It's so good because they don't even bother doing the like setup of like, well, we could go see his wife. They go find Kingsley and we just hard cut to his wife opening the door to Solo. And it's like, we know what the fucking deal is here.
Of course, we know that she's lying because we've seen her in the opening, but the boys didn't recognize her, so she's really upset and she claims to not know where her husband is. She's also dressed as a sexy drama teacher, which is interesting.
Yeah, and she's using the sort of the voice that you would describe as the evil voice in like an adaptation of Poirot or something. Like in a detective film, right? What usually happens when you have an evil, scheming, conniving woman is she sounds sweet, and then the detective goes, "Oh, but it was you in the like library with the lead pipe," and she goes, "You were such a fool, Freddie." The evil voice, you know.
Yeah,
but she's on that from minute one.
Yeah.
And she opens the door and is like, I have no idea where my husband has gone. And you're like, oh.
This was such a fool.
She's wearing a black poofy jumpsuit, a long gold vest, gold shoes, and a statement necklace. So she is definitely doing like your art teacher who you have a crush on.
We are almost into the 70s here. We're perilously close. 1968. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's fair to say we can see those things start to creep in.
Solo finds a scrap of paper with the word 7 written on it. Do we ever find out what the fuck this means?
It's the 7 intellectual wonders thing.
Yeah, he wants 7 guys. He just wrote 7 down 100,000 times on a piece of paper. I don't know why.
Because he's normal.
Yeah, standard style.
Waverly calls and Waverly's like,
he's really fucking up his lines here. Like he can barely say Napoleon Solo. He sounds like he's been fucking at the sissy hypnogas himself. It's real bad.
This scene contains my favorite line reading of the entire movie, which is from Solo himself.
Now, if you have any idea,
just
look at Matt Berry. Any idea?
You really are the most devious bastard.
Hong Kong City.
He's given up calling it UNCLE. He just calls it Uncle now, which is fun.
Yeah. Like, that battle has been lost a long time ago, which I really appreciate.
So Waverly's like, yo, there's this scientist who's gone missing, and Kingsley's stolen a bunch of Uncle's files on him. So it's looking more and more like Kingsley hasn't gone missing. Kingsley's defected from Uncle, which is kind of fucking cool. It's the first time that's happened.
Yeah. Yes. And he goes, and you know who else? There's a daughter. And Solo goes, how bad do I want to fuck her? And Waverly goes, so bad it makes you look stupid. And then we cut to the daughter.
Oh, no, we don't. We meet Kingsley meets the scientist who's gone missing first. The scientist, don't worry about him. He's just some dude. But I love this scene because...
This is really good.
Yeah, because Kingsley meets the chemist and, like, he's got this scrap of paper on him and we don't know what's written on it. But, like, just the way that they act it and the way that the music is done, we understand that this paper is of, like, really great importance. Like the scientist is like, history will end with this, and like hands over this tiny piece of paper, and Kingsley just looks at it. It's like a really, really good scene.
Riddle me this: if it's that good of a scene, why don't I remember it? I saw this movie this morning, right, and it's gone. So much of it is
because you were thinking about the daughter.
That's true.
You're champing at the bit. This scene establishes something that we will mention a lot, which is close-ups on guys. This scene is shot from about an inch away from each of these people, respectively. Shot, reverse shot.
They really They really got weird with it. They knew this was going to be like the last one, I guess. And so whoever was doing the cinematography was like, okay, I may have missed my chance to do like German expressionist cinema, but I'm not going to let it pass me by this time. I'm going to use the last of the film. I'm going to stick this lens directly up their fucking nostril.
It's like fogging up because the actors are breathing on it. That's how close. Yeah.
He got told that this is the last Uncle movie they were doing, and he just like went "fuck you" and got the macro lens out. Like, I'm shoving this shit so close you can see every individual pockmark on this man's face, and there are 8 trillion of them. So good.
We see Anna. She has a date. His name
She's
is
dating
Steve.
this twink.
Yes, Steve.
His name is Steve.
I swear that at some point
Steve
somebody
Garrett.
calls him David, because my notes like initially call him David and then it changes over, but whatever.
I wrote down "who's this twink?" a question which to me remains unanswered. At the
He
end
keeps
of the
coming
film.
up.
Yeah, he's not very important. But yeah, she's leaving to go and join her father. And then we cut to, first time I think we've seen this in a while, Thrush HQ.
That's right. Yeah, we fucking
under the
do.
cover of Freeze Meat Limited, and it's a meat deck. Meat is being conveyed back and forth, but within the meat, inside a trolley whose sides are made of meat,
This is Kingsley's riding in a meat wagon.
Yeah, she's
and
riding in a
she's
big meat car.
She's
being
riding
pushed
inside
along.
the car made of meat, and she's got an old-timey car horn,
Yes,
which he just
yes.
hoots a couple of times and then hands off to a guy.
So this is something that's so fucking good about Uncle, is that they use the sort of spy tropes and framing around completely ridiculous items. So this is like case in point that she produces this like old-timey like car horn with such like an air of like, I've got the secrets here. It's so fucking good. She like presents it to the door guard and he looks at it with such seriousness and then opens the door. And it just never comes back. It's like, why would it be a key card? We could just treat like the fucking clown horn like it was a key card.
You'd never guess it, right? Would you? If you were trying to get into Thrush Command, you'd never be like, they're like, what's the password? I'll just pull out my like clown horn
Password
that I like happen to have on me.
The password is, as stated,
Curious honk noise there.
Inside, Thrush are having a meeting which is being chaired by Webb.
No. We can't just gloss over the
You want to stay on the
can.
clown horn?
weirdly horny clown noise.
Yeah, okay.
listen, you'll have to forgive her throats a little bit.
Funny.
Look, it's so good because like in any fucking movie you would use like a key card for that and then the key card would never show up again. And if you're going to have an item that's treated with reverence and never shown up again, why would you not just be like, fuck it, let's use the clown horn for it. Let's use a
ring
fucking
with the
water
Thrush
bottle.
logo on it.
No. Yeah, this would be a normal thing to use. Why would you use them when you could use
Was this like a
fucking
joke? Was this
pen?
like a rehearsal? Were the props department not ready for this takeover? What the fuck is this?
It was the last episode, and they were like, fuck it, let's do a silly one.
Yeah, they're just getting weird. They're using all the tropes and the coding and then using a clown horn. It's perfect.
So inside, Thrush are having this meeting. It's being chaired by Webb, and we surmise that like Thrush aren't behind Kingsley, but they're waiting for Kingsley's plan to be ready, and then they're going to swoop in and take it over. And Mrs. Kingsley is helping them.
You know what, though? Thrush DEI is doing the work because they have 50% female executives in this room.
Yeah, they do.
They've got Webb.
Yeah,
they've
no
got
one of
Mrs.
colour,
Kingsley. They've got a guy called Mr. Veith, and Miss Carla, who is like standing behind him, kind of like threatening.
Miss Carla, hello.
On her. Yeah, I also wrote this down. And as you say, the plan is they're
Love a tall brunette
bankrolling-
woman with a strong jaw.
Yeah, absolutely. They're bankrolling this sort of like project of Kingsley's, unbeknownst to him, and they're going to swoop in at the last second and take it over.
Mrs. Kingsley reclines on a divan and smokes a cigarette. My notes say it is horny.
Oh,
It's
it is
extremely horny because essentially what happens is she turns to Veith and Carla and goes, right, fuck off, and they do, and they're like, you will see us later. Meantime, this sort of like weirdly luxurious conference room that I should say has one wall totally open on like the henchman command center with all of the like blinking lights and stuff, and which remains open the whole time. That now becomes, for the rest of the movie, Mrs. Kingsley and Webb's fuck shack.
Yeah,
these guys are fucking like it's last days of Rome, like unbelievable.
First attempt to convey to you that these people are fucking is she goes, "It's hot in here," and he blows out a candle.
It's quite fun actually because it's the 60s, they can't show the characters fucking, so they just have to make like extremely horny eye contact at each other, which is it kind of sells it quite nicely. It's like a lost art, you know. And
this is like
Hays Code shit.
A fully open plan office. Like, if nothing else, do you want the henchmen to watch? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, I do.
Like,
I
is
believe
this sort of a looking for a third situation?
Because I you from across the evil conference room and loved your vibes.
I think honestly, I think that the meat deck sort of like Thrush command center probably has atrocious reviews on the Hench app. It's like, I had my job pressing the sort of the buttons and stuff, and then they kept like very seductively asking me if I worked out. You know, like they keep like putting a hand on my shoulder. It's like, I really don't want to be sort of in a unicorn situation with this.
Challenge me to an arm wrestle.
Yeah,
I keep trying to do my job as a henchman, and then they just keep like involving me in their public kink. It's like, come on, lads.
Didn't consent to that. Plus, it's an unequal relationship. They signed my paycheck.
But this sex scene is the kind of, it's the only like sex scene that's compliant with those weird people on Twitter who are like, sex scenes never move the plot forward. It's like, it does, actually. True. It does move the plot forward because we established that Kingsley's wife is not loyal to him.
Mm-hmm. He's being cucked by
That's
her.
right.
Meanwhile, Anne arrives in Hong Kong where the boys are waiting. They have her headshot, which is extremely funny.
Mm-hmm.
Again, yeah.
Yep. I love this recurring gag. This is the only photo of anyone you can find.
Of just someone who is like a civilian. Just like nothing remarkable, just 8x10 headshot glossy.
She did a bit of like local theatre stuff, and she just had that made, and they have that. And she gets into sort of like a 1930s car for unclear reasons, which they follow to a boat, upon which a crane operator on the docks tries and comes damn close to like killing our boys by like swinging a big crane hook at them.
But then he just kind of lets them go after that. Because Anna gets away on the boat,
their time while the boat takes off. Yeah, and then we get one of my favorite shot in the movie. I think there's a better shot later, but you get a dramatic shot of all the sailors stood on top of the boat as it leaves, like watching, and then they all turn around, and it holds just long enough to reveal that the name of the ship is the Wild Goose. And you're like, oh.
And then the driver of this 1930s taxi, every other car in Hong Kong is normal, by the way, it's just this one car, leans out of the window and like says something that I don't even know if it's racist. If it's racist in a way that's like so baffling it didn't even like compute for me.
Taxi, gentlemen, taxi.
What accent is supposed to be?
That's Hong Kong's Scouser.
Sort of like Hong Kong Brooklyn Scouser, the familiar racial stereotype.
Yeah, the classic type of guy that we're all familiar with.
Are these guys around before the handover?
I don't know.
The handover was very strange.
This turns out to be pointless because they immediately catch up to Anna on a helicopter, and an old man opens up on them with a fucking deck gun.
Yeah, this is really funny.
Because the boys don't give a shit that this happens.
Solo is wearing like a blue Harrington jacket, aviators, a like massive medallion, I'm pretty certain, and a turtleneck. And this old guy is shooting at them with a 50 caliber machine gun, and Solo not even fussed. He's not giving a fuck about it.
Ilya kind of slightly inclines his head to look down at this and is just like, no.
Just like being shot at with a heavy machine gun. Oh, no, thank you. I don't believe in it.
It's like they forgot to tell him that was occurring in the scene, so they're just like playing it completely normal.
Yeah, or it was like edited together, and
So they buzz the ship about 50 or 60 times, and finally they are forced to land or choose to land the helicopter on the ship.
The captain of the ship appears. He puts his hand on the barrel of the 50 cal and doesn't burn himself, which not sure how that happened. Also, I
really like this guy.
Yeah, this is Earth's most sourced captain.
He's like you said, Dev. There's a lot of actors in this who have one scene to really like make an impression, and he does his best.
You need to start doing this.
The way that he does this is to sort of do like an L. Ron Hubbard sort of vibe, and like sort of very slurring and very British inexplicably. I wrote down, is this how Americans feel about J.W. Pepper? he starts to sound like Gorka, like James Adomian's Gorka, but like sort of on Quaaludes.
Yeah, it's a very unusual character. I'm not sure what the joke is here.
Well, Quaaludes Gorka, the class again. That's another kind of guy that we should all be familiar with.
He's running around Hong Kong before the
yeah.
What's really funny is there's one line, because Anna comes out to meet them, and he goes, "Well, I'll just play you what he actually says.
Why don't you pop off and play some shuffleboard or something?"
Now,
why don't you do that?
All of the audio in this is like pretty poorly mixed in this movie, but. First of all, that's Quaaludes Gorka. Why don't you pop on down to the White House? Second of all, what does he actually say here? What?
Why don't you pop off and play some shuffleboard or something?
I think he said shuffleboard, but there was a problem with the audio editing.
Yeah, it seems to be.
The subtitles, which try their best, and this does have subtitles. The subtitles go with cuffle ball. Why don't you pop off and play some cuffle ball? So either this is a thing he's just invented for this, because he slurred shuffleboard so badly that we've invented a new sport. You know, something that sounds like it's only played in the Netherlands.
Yeah, the boys are like, "Yo, Anna, where's your dad and this dude Kingsley?" She's like, "I don't know." They get captured, and we see that she's lying because Kingsley and her dad are both on board,
listening from a porthole or a vent or something. And our boys get sort of like knocked unconscious. At which point, you may be asking, what are Mrs. Kingsley and Webb up to? And the answer is,
they're fucking.
The answer is. Fucking
again.
Doing sex on each other. And the thing is, every time they do this, they knock down one of the handful of existing acceptable ways to convey that two characters are having sex, right? Like, we've already done the, like, 2 cigarettes in an ashtray. And so what they do this time is she goes, it's really bright in here. So he walks over, draws the big curtain between them and, like, the henchmen. So finally,
all the henchmen like, oh, thank God.
And we get a beautiful, really fast, really close zoom into Webb's face for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, crash zoom on him.
As he closes this curtain. It's baffling.
It's like the number on his forehead rises to 100%.
He closes that curtain, turns back to look dead into the camera's eye, and it zooms straight in on his face, and you're like, yeah, perfect. These guys are fucking. The point of the scene, however, is that the other two people who I don't care are going, look, they've nearly made their fucking like team together. They've nearly got their plan together. Can we please jump in and take over now? And the answer is no. Let's just wait a little longer.
I'm too busy getting pussy.
No, I need to get this goddamn pussy.
They are interrupted by the announcement that Thrush has successfully recruited to the plot a guy we love to see. A guy we love to see in a comic role who is not in a comic role. He's not in that phase of his career yet.
This.
Yeah, this is
so weird to see him playing
serious actor.
It's so fucking funny.
Fucking Hamlet.
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie fucking Nielsen.
I just wanted to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you. Leslie Nielsen.
This is moments before he started doing comedy acting. I remember last summer I watched Forbidden Planet for the first time, and he is the protagonist, and he's supposed to be like young and hot and completely playing it straight. and it's almost impossible to watch now because he delivers every line in the same way as he does in his comedy straight man stuff, but it's just there's no humor. And you're like,
he's
is he doing
so
a bit?
fucking funny.
You're primed to laugh for like everything he says, and then it's like, no, this is deadly serious.
He's just
He
saying the
kills
lines.
motherfuckers in this.
He's saying the lines completely straight, and you're like,
Great, perfect. Leslie Nielsen is like an Air Force general, U.S. Air Force general. Wears sunglasses all the time, so the effect is a bit sort of like Gaultieri-ish. And
I thought he looked like Drill.
I thought he looked like Drill.
He and his boys are leaving the country on some outer heaven shit.
Fully.
Like, he pushes past some reporters and shit, gets in the plane with his, like, paratroopers, and he hits them with, and this is also, you know, us when Abby makes us watch fucking, you know, a Bratz movie or whatever.
When you were selected to serve me, you took a personal oath of loyalty. I now invoke that pledge of unquestioning obedience.
And
People were saying that to me, and
Yes,
wait,
ma'am.
what?
and he's fully on some out of heaven
again.
shit. He's like, you are the last soldiers. You're the like.
This goes hard.
It does. It goes weirdly hard.
Yeah, it's a sick character introduction because he's introduced getting out of a car, mobbed by reporters, and it's shot from like the position of one of the reporters. So you're like trying to get a glimpse of him, and he's like walking through the airport, and he gets into this room, steps, and he stands in like Tory power stance, holding his fucking riding crop, and is like, boys.
He's carrying a riding crop
Why?
the whole
It's
time.
so
Again, very
good.
hot.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We're not developing a Leslie Nielsen kink on this podcast. We can't do
Developing?
that. All right, why
I
don't
just
you
said
just
I
talk for
watched
the next
Forbidden
10 to
Planet.
20 minutes about, like, you know, all the stuff that Leslie Nielsen could do, like, to, for, by, and with you.
I won't
and
besmirch
we'll
his memory with this.
So
He could use that
Solo and
riding crop
Kuryakin
for one
wake
thing.
up. Solo and Kuryakin wake up on the boat, which has just been fully abandoned.
This is a nice touch, actually, because initially I was like, why didn't they just kill them? But we actually find out later.
And like they've taken their little communicator pens. They don't have anywhere to call for help. They're just adrift. But Kuryakin has outwitted them by the expedient of some real grandpa shit. I keep my phone in my shoe, so if people rob me, they won't think to check in my shoe where I keep my phone.
He's got his phone down his massive sock.
We get a really fun line off of this, if I can find the fucking drop.
How do I inject dignity into the word help? You don't.
So they call Waverly, and Waverly's like, yeah, whatever. Waverly's like,
where am I?
I'm dead now, fellas.
Waverly is only
Who are
getting
you
cutaways. He
people?
can't be on set. They have to just...
No, it's brutal,
Took
man,
them all
honestly.
day to get these lines out of him, yeah.
Yeah. But he agrees to send a seaplane, a word which he cannot really pronounce. And meanwhile, we cut back to our scientists and Leslie Nielsen, who are arriving at their sort of like new city, and they're already on their robe shit.
Yeah, they've got
They're
red
heavily
robes.
onto their robes.
We don't know what the plan is yet, but they're on robes. And at Thrush HQ, there's a coup. The hot lady from earlier and the dude in the wheelchair try and attack Webb, but Mrs. Kingsley just kills them both, and it's horny.
Yeah, they try and interrupt their like our third window into their constant non-stop fuck session. They have run out of ways to show that they're fucking, so we're reintroduced to Mrs. fucking Kingsley. She is groping a bronze deer statue, right? I'm not even sure what that's
It's
meant
like
to
a buck?
symbolize.
No idea.
Rutting?
So-
Odd.
Yeah, so these two are like, no, you fools, this is gonna, the timing of this is wrong, and ride or die, she just kills both of them, which is perfect.
Yeah, immediately.
One small detail I did want to note, when they hand the latest nerd they've recruited his nerd robes, they're like, welcome to the purple,
Yeah, what
which
the fuck
is,
that?
so it's ostensibly a classical illusion, right? Like the robes of Roman like senators and nobles used to be dipped in something called Tyrian purple, which is a thing you get by like squishing a bunch of
sea
snails,
stuff,
milking
yeah.
a bunch of snails. Yeah,
It smells bad.
but like, yeah, but Tyrion purple is probably close to that shade of red, so it's nice work, you know. Good catch, Man from U.N.C.L.E. on the last movie.
That's really good. I just genuinely assumed I'd misheard them say circle.
Yeah, same.
Probably really good.
because the sound mixing is really bad
It's not great.
in this movie. There's one instance of it which I don't have a drop of, but which sets me up for, I think, the best pun I've ever made in this fucking podcast. So, you know, stay tuned for that in about an hour's time.
Very excited.
In the meantime, I'm going to play some cuffle ball. We hear from Waverly that a bunch of other like weird people have been kidnapped, like a PR expert, a food scientist. They've been kidnapped, and weirdly, about a week before they get kidnapped, seemingly innocuous things get stolen from their homes, like a music box and a briefcase. And it's like, oh, it's kind of
Kuryakin goes, oh, do we have to watch every petty theft in the world? And we go live to Petty Theft Cam.
Yeah, we do.
Where a guy is
this fucking rules.
breaking... yeah, this stole the whole movie for me. A guy is breaking into the home of Professor Garrow, this geneticist whose twink son was dating the daughter.
Small world.
Yeah, he grabs like a family photo, and said twink opens the door, goes, hey, what are you doing? The guy grabs the family photo and exits Quantum of Solace style.
Like Castile in the Bourne Identity, like
straight out the window.
He goes perfectly horizontally through the window. He goes out like that Garfield panel. It's gorgeous. And the movie does not linger on this at all. This is like his immediate action is get caught out window. And Steve runs to this window. He's already gone.
It's so fucking... I need to do like a supercut of all the time someone's launched through a window on this podcast, because there's been so
with Mr.
many.
Alexander just kind of like falling through one. Yeah.
That's
Who
still the best one.
trained him to do this? To like immediately like sprint through the nearest plate glass window and make good your escape.
You need to learn this skill, actually.
And this happens every time. These aren't fucking plate glass windows, man. They have like slats. This is like a compound. He's just going straight through the balsa wood in the middle. Like,
yeah, really badly constructed in the 70s.
And like face first too. He doesn't even have his arms out around the thing.
I need to learn this. It'll be really good in awkward social situations. I'm like, oh, I'll just dry my hands on my penis. I mean, my jeans.
I do this one time, and everyone rushes the window, and I'm like on the ground beneath it, just going like, oh god.
Windows are made stronger these days.
Oh, I didn't realize. Glass and wood
Making
is
every
really
window
bad.
in my house
out of
out of
fucking
sugar glass. It's like hell in summer. It's melting my window. It's like covered in ants, but it's purely so if I have a socially awkward situation, I can sprint towards any window I choose. Fucking Agent 47 killing me by replacing my window with real glass and then
bouncing
causing me
like,
embarrassment.
ow, my nose. Double glazing has been invented.
Doing the fucking like Family Guy, like, ooh, bitch, for like 5 minutes.
Uncle, back in the day, if you got robbed, they'd put your whole ass name and address in the paper. And so we see that this allows Uncle...
this geneticist.
We see that, like, Uncle are able to trace this.
They give off his murder coordinates.
Yeah. We sort of, reading between the lines, understand that they are able to get to this professor. But so the next scene is this professor and his family. He's going to like a conference or something. They're in the airport. Almost all of this movie is filmed at LAX because I guess they got a deal on it. And, you know, it's beautiful airport scenery. The red zone is for loading and unloading. He gets called to the white courtesy phone. And you know what? I would hate to be chloroformed and put on a baggage conveyor belt, but that's what happens to him.
Mm-hmm. No, you wouldn't.
And no, I would love that shit. Are you kidding me? Come on. Like, honestly, they need, like, federal government. If you once you've invented the cigarette that's good for you, once you've invented the cigar that's good for you,
come on.
If you could just do me personally a solid and invent the chloroform that's good for you, because the chloroform that exists is real bad for you. So if you could
your
just,
ancestor
you know,
invent
maybe see a
chloroform?
way to. Yeah, I mean, you got to invent the chloroform that's good for you. That's all I'm saying.
Is that just ketamine?
Yeah,
It might just be
just like a
kaolin.
rag soaked in ketamine. I mean,
It takes 30 minutes to take effect, but afterwards it's really
yeah.
It looks classic,
Like 30 minutes of having like a towel held over your face, which maybe. But so Kuryakin and Solo like see this happen and like in a very unhurried way follow them, which we kind of like. I'm not sure if you're meant to be like, yo, what the fuck? Why are they just letting this happen? Or if you're meant to have gotten that this is like part of a plan.
Yeah. So Gara gets taken away and Ilya's like, excellent.
Yeah, we also meet this guy's son
His
who's desperate to be in this fucking movie. Steven, who is just like...
He gets pushed down like 4 flights of stairs.
Our hero,
it really
Steve.
holds on it as well. So good.
That's really funny. Good stunt work from this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
But
rolls
he
down.
perfectly rolls down. Like it's a long shot of him rolling down these
At
stairs.
the bottom, he gets up and he's like, I'm all right. And it's like, are you?
Really?
I don't think you are, man. I think you're dead,
You could
actually.
stay lying down, actually, I think.
He wants to be in this movie so badly. So they have a little transmitter sewn into Professor Clarence Darrow's jacket or whatever.
He's helping
which
them. He's
allows-
working with Uncle.
Yeah. Which allows Solo to like follow him in a plane. And
Yeah.
Solo like looks out of the window of the plane and goes, "Oh, it's the Himalayas." And in my heart, I knew I would go, That's weird. The Himalayas look a lot like Southern California at this time of year.
You have no fucking idea, if you're listening to this, how much the Himalayas are Southern California. They are like on a salt flat.
The characters in this keep making reference to it. Because like later on, Ilya and Steve are in the helicopter, and then Steve's like, Northern Himalayas, they're a desert. That's kind of weird. And Kuryakin's like, yeah, weird part of the world. And it's like,
it's such like a shut up line.
the Northern Himalayas
like,
are a desert.
Don't worry about it.
There is like it's like a cold desert. Like you could have done a shot of a desert and put like wind howling sound effect. Yeah,
like there's a rain shadow. It's Tibet. But no,
I bought it.
No,
it's a salt flat, baby.
The thing is, right, when they were location scouting for this, they were like, we're not driving more than like 15 minutes. And fair enough, honestly. There's bits of Northern California you could have used. No, not interested. Not even bothered. So the plane gets intercepted and shot down by Leslie Nielsen's
stock
missile
footage of a
defense
missile.
unit. Yeah, every so often Leslie Nielsen will just like get on his big white phone and go missile defense unit, and the missile defense unit guy will be like, "Oh boy, I'm about to do the thing again."
This sets up the heavy conflict between Leslie Nielsen and Mr. Kingsley, which is that Leslie Nielsen wants to start the killing so bad. So bad.
So bad.
Every
so
scene
bad
he's in, he's
stupid.
like, let me kill them. They're just like, no, we're trying to make a better new world. And he's like, yeah, but like, why can't we kill some guys to get there?
Yeah, and honestly, he's got a point.
Yeah, pedantic point, but Uncle didn't notice the theft of some ground-to-air missiles at any point. I feel like somebody should be keeping track of where those are.
Yeah, we noticed the theft of a music box, but they fucking missed the...
Yeah, missed the fucking stealing of the fucking missiles. Yeah, great work, lads.
So Mr. Missile shoots down the plane. The pilot gets killed. At least he gets knocked unconscious, and Napoleon makes no attempt to save him, condemns him to a fiery grave. Parachutes out onto the salt flat.
Parachutes out into some stock footage of somebody parachuting.
Yep. Lands on a salt flat, and then we get some
undertakes a peyote vision
our
quest.
German expressionist cinematographer once again is on his bullshit because he was like, right, fucking Robert.
This is so good.
Rob,
this is phenomenal.
Still. I'm gonna put this camera under your chin and just hold it the fuck there. It's going to be a lot of chin shots in this one.
We're going to keep sliding it past you. If you could be looking up with your mouth hanging open and like desperately confused, this is going to be like perfect, Rob.
It's like we need these shots for like pre-surgery for your medical files. Like we just need chin. That's all we need.
40 years before the invention of the front-facing camera, we have perfectly captured accidentally opens front-facing camera. Robert Vaughn looking baffled and embarrassed and like sort of mostly chin stumbling around the desert.
It's a perfect shot. I think it's really good. But I think it would be good if there was like 8 less of them, is the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
He stumbles for like an hour of movie.
Like, the really funny thing is, Act 4 lag.
He has he has walked for like 15 minutes, right? He's wearing like a shirt and slacks. He's on a salt flat. This is intended to show us this is an extremely inhospitable environment, right? What it actually shows us is when Napoleon Solo has to wait 10 minutes between drinks, he's on his way out. He's dying.
Yeah, the speed at which Ilya and Steve catch up to him like really sells like he's gotten about like 5 minutes away from the wreckage of the plane. He's like, oh god, I can't make it.
Like barely gotten away
he's
from
getting
it.
the fucking DTs. He's got like weirdly they choose to like cover his upper lip in like it looks a lot like the like numbing cream you put on before electrolysis.
Yeah, he looks like he's used too much retinoids.
Yeah, he's like covered in
on the grind a little
moisturizer.
too much, poor bugger. He's on a little bit of a vision quest. He looks like he's trying to find a kebab after a really heavy night. Like he's just stumbling through the streets like, oh god. he perfectly ragdolls down a cliff at one point, which I love to bits.
Yeah.
Just again, like 5 minutes walk away from the fucking crash.
Yeah, learn to do the like spell of self paralysis on top of a mountain for fun. And like a bunch of guys in robes find him, and they're all making the like trade offer fingers over him.
Yeah, very
which
odd.
is great. They pick him up and carry him away.
We also we get another scene that I really like, which is Garrow wakes up in a room that's been made to look exactly like his office at home with the photo that was stolen. Not really clear why that happens, don't worry about it. But Kingsley is there, and he says, I'm assembling the 7 wonders of the world, intellectual wonders of the world, and we are going to control the minds of everyone on Earth and thereby save the world. And Garrow refuses to take part in this plan. The reason I really like this scene is the actor who plays Kingsley is a guy called Barry Sullivan, and he like really sells it. He really sells that he is absolutely fucking serious about doing this. And people are like, you can't really be controlling the minds of everyone on Earth. He's like, yes, I am. He's like totally committed to it. It's a great performance.
It's something that like Bond villains kind of like try and generally fuck up. Is like, no, I am 100% serious about the sissy hypnogas.
Yeah.
Like, it may seem ridiculous to you, but I'm like all in on the sissy hypno thing.
Yeah.
Don't make a drop of that. And so
Professor Garrow's like, you brought that here in your purse? And he's like, yeah, of course I did. Like, what did you think this was? Solo is lost in the Himalayan desert.
Yeah, he's still lost in the desert. At this point, it's starting to lose me a little bit. We're having that classic lag, early part 4 of any Uncle film, which is like, all right, let's get these fucking guys to the final location, please.
Yeah, which I'm sorry is quite clearly the LAX building.
Yeah,
no,
it's the theme building at LAX.
It's a big map painting in the Himalayan desert. All right, it's fine. It's a huge map painting through a cave.
I'm imbuing my surroundings with a sense of like playful wonder and imagination.
I've been here. I've been to this place. It's LAX. I've seen it.
I'm imbuing my surroundings with a sense of fucking wonder and imagination. God damn it.
LAX isn't even the most evil airport you can film in.
There's like clearly airport signs that have been covered up.
Denver. Yeah, there's multiple.
So like, it's like very visibly LAX, but like Steve makes Ilya take him with him to find Solo by bringing a gun and going like, take me, Steve, with you.
I want to also be in this movie still. And Ilya's like,
I thought Ilya was the type to be intimidated by this, but whatever.
The thing is, that actually is a real gun. That actor was just like, no, you have to like write me into this scene or I will shoot you.
He reckons he didn't get enough done in his like one shot in the sun. He was like, all right, I need to try that again, boys. I'm
the Hergé-Villechaize technique, which is threaten your agent with a weapon.
So they fly around in a helicopter for a bit, and this once again triggers Leslie Nielsen to go have the argument with Kingsley. Like, hey, we're building a better world. We're gonna have to like kill a few people to get there, right? And then he fluffs his line, and the sound mixing fucks up.
This is the most dubbed scene I've ever seen in my life. Not
even sure what he says, right?
That's why I'll protect this center of that world.
Now, I would say that he says, he says titter, right? The subtitles say splinter, It could be center.
I think it's the center of this world.
World, but it's a sound makes things fucks up. Like
I will defend this titter of all.
it still sounds like he's like setting up a joke.
It's impossible to hear Leslie Nielsen talk. Let's not be like, yeah.
That's how it is on this titter of an earth.
Just imagine if you were best friends with Leslie Nielsen and you died, and he like spoke at your funeral, and everyone at the funeral was just like, Then what happened? Like,
like leaning forward in the fucking pews.
Imagine if you had an argument with this man. You just be like, you can't take you seriously. Like,
so he calls up Mr. Missile and is like, shoot down the helicopter.
Imagine if you tried to make
play that stock footage of the missile again.
Yeah, the missile knows where it is. And we then cut back to Kingsley and Webb, who have been fucking this entire fucking time.
Yeah.
The whole time. They took time off from this movie to just fuck, right? I know it smelled crazy. And she wakes him up, having exhausted him by fucking him too much, with the most ejaculatory champagne I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, this is
the horniest shit in the world.
Oh yeah.
How do you make champagne do that? Like, I've opened bottles of champagne before and they don't, like, come on you like that.
Yeah, but that's because you've opened them correctly, Alice.
I see.
You have to shake it and then open it wrong.
Yeah.
But she does that as a bit, and she goes, hey, check this shit out. Everything's in place. We got the, like, ketamine that's gonna, like, drug all of Leslie Nielsen's dudes. And, like, everything's in place for us to go and do the thing.
It's honestly impossible to oversell. Like, Webb is asleep at the start of a scene, presumably because he's been fucked to, like, the absolute extent with which a person can be fucked. And he is woken up by this woman hornily. And he wakes up and, like, it takes him a couple of seconds, but immediately he's, like, back in the room again. Like, he's like, okay, let's go.
And like
Jesus,
he's like
boys.
badly dehydrated.
He's had no electrolytes at all for like the last 48 hours.
And she pitches him on like, okay, now what we're supposed to do is wait for the members of Thrush Central to get there so we can take over. What if we just didn't do that? And what if we sissy hypnoed them as well?
Yeah.
And like,
what if we just let them get hit with the popper gas and then
dilate the fuck out of their assholes? What if we just did
hell
that?
Yeah. Because we hear as like Kingsley tries to recruit Solo basically. His plan is they've got this docility gas. They're going to gas the whole world and then broadcast a signal from the Himalayan desert brackets LAX to be like, okay, now everybody does what Kingsley says. And then they take over the world. They end war forever. They create a generation of robots, says Robert Vaughn.
I in fact have this.
Robots.
Because what he's doing is Solo is failing a bunch of speech checks in quick succession. He's going to each of these guys and he's like, do you really want to do
robots?
And weirdly, Leslie Nielsen, in the tone that would lead you to believe there's going to be a joke coming, delivers a sort of Spy Kids 2 weirdly hard line.
I'm a soldier. I realize just about every ambition of my profession except its abolition, which is something I have prayed for from the time I saw my first battlefield casualty.
I've realized every ambition of my profession except its abolition?
Yeah,
that's
hard
like,
as shit.
It's nice to have like it's nice to have an ideological clash in the Uncle films. And Kingsley actually says like, look, I want to change the world. I want to make the world better. Like I used to be an Uncle agent, but it doesn't work. What we do doesn't make the world any safer. And I just have to keep killing people for Uncle and then like hope like what? Things are going to get better? No, I'm not going to. And I'm like, oh fuck.
You've been in this battle against evil your entire career. Don't you want to win? Which Solo calls a blasphemy, which I like as a choice of words too. It's like, this is surprisingly well written. This is like sort of like old episodes of Star Trek and stuff where they smuggle some like actual politics into it. And you get a writer who's like, you know, maybe a frustrated playwright or something, and just like decides, okay, fuck you, I'm turning the drama thing up to like yes, which I really appreciate.
Decided to finally put emotional depth in this Uncle film, and additionally I have the macro lens. Like, it's the last Uncle film we're doing, baby. Let's like try to actually have like maybe a meaningful message of some description.
And it also makes sense. It makes sense that Kingsley wants Solo to join them because he's like, you know, you're an Uncle agent like me. you get it. And Solo's like, no, I won't join you. I don't.
Yeah, he reckons that if he can persuade Solo, it will be just like a complete vindication of his views because it's not just him. He can have someone else who started in the same place as him come to the same agreement, then it'll be real.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't convince Solo, and he gets led away to be shot because Nielsen wants to start the fucking killing.
Yeah. Ready, aim,
he wants
Steve.
to start the killing so bad. Steven and Kuryakin have also been captured. They are lined up and in like 3. And, you know, it's fucking borderline Christological. They're going to fucking, like, inaugurate the new world over these 3 dead dudes, right?
Yeah. Really good shot as well, actually. The composition's phenomenal.
Yeah. Weirdly, they try and stage this execution firing across a swimming pool because that's just the set that they had. And so they try and conduct the execution. At the last second, Steve's dad sees Steve, goes, Steve. And Steve is like...
Steve says his one line in the movie, which is, that's my dad. Which he says about 80 times.
There's a reason that they call Captain America Cap in the films. And it's because Steve is not a very sexy or dramatic name.
Steve is not a dramatic name.
Like, there's a reason they call Doctor Strange, right? Because Steve just doesn't sound good.
The 2 Steves. But so this leads to a classic fumbles the gun, accidentally shoots Steve's dad moment. To which I wrote down, why did you try and stage an execution across a pool, you silly bastards?
So that someone could get shot and then dramatically fall into a pool, of course.
Yeah. This leads to Steve being sort of like traumatized. Kingsley sees all of this and is like, okay, right. No more of this jock shit. This is meant to be nerd world, right? No more, and he, just to prove what an annoying little shit he is, correctly pluralizes, no more drumhead courts martial. And it's like,
fuck off.
Fucking pluralize that correctly, you piece of shit.
Get it wrong like a normal man.
Yeah, just like lock them all up, and then what we'll do is we'll give Solo and Kuryakin the sissy hypno gas, and we'll dilate their assholes.
This is real good.
That will prove, like,
absolutely.
The argument between Kingsley and Nielsen is once again macro lens close up, and when Nielsen finally extracts the like, fine, we will do the gas on them to test it out. Like the smile is like this slow smile on Nielsen. It's just so good.
Also going to be the episode art because it's a really funny image of itself.
Because he's wearing sunglasses. It's important to note that he's wearing sunglasses and he does look like Drill.
More like Drill than Jack Nicholson did in A Few Good Men. So at this point, Kingsley calls his wife. His wife is like, yeah, I'm certainly not like, I don't have like 4 loads of this guy's cum dripping out of me right now. I'm fine. I'll see you in like 10 minutes. I'll fly out there to the like surprisingly warm LAX Himalayas. I'll be right there. Love you too. And then she like lights her cigarette off a standing candle, which is such a fucking girl boss move. Meanwhile, and this is where you're going to get the pun, Steve is locked in his dad's replica office. And he's sort of like crying to himself, and the daughter sneaks in to like comfort him. But the audio mixing is fucked, and they've accidentally doubled the Steve. You get 2 Steves.
You get 2 Steves.
There's like reverb on your Steve because they've like doubled the track. And at this point, I wrote down and had to stop for a minute. I Steve in stereo.
God fucking damn it. You wrote that shit down and like leant back in your chair like hand to your forehead like fuck, I'm
never
good.
beating this. I'm fucking good. I'm really good.
The audio mix sounds strange.
Yeah, if anyone wants to grab both the video and like the audio to the fucking MGM2 song and make a fan cam of that, please be my guest for the like most baroque, highest effort to lowest joke reward piece of
You're gonna put so much effort into this to get something that's like middlingly funny, but it would be pretty alright.
I Steve in stereo.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
It's a
okay.
reference to the MGMT song Little Dark Age, which says, I breathe in stereo.
Right, I read. Yeah.
Feel free to do like 10 to 15 minutes of research and then DM us later going, that was okay. That was like,
it was alright.
funny.
It was mid, but I was so proud of myself.
No, it's good. I'm with you.
But like,
So Anne apologizes to Steve and gives him a gun, which is the best apology present.
That's right.
That's right. And they try and like agree to fight their way to
Yeah,
the
they have
control
this fucking
center and, like,
hard moment where they both agree, like, the options are either we try and fight our way out of here with one apology gun and probably get killed, or we stay here and we, like, are enslaved for the rest of our lives. So he's like, yeah, I'd
better
honestly
dead than robots.
rather die fighting, actually. And it's like, damn, that goes hard.
It's sick.
Better dead than robots.
A guard comes in and sees them and then just, like, collapses without being touched. And they're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, they kill one guard, and then the second guy walks in and just like hits the deck. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly half an hour earlier, that guy had done his like work ketamine.
I hate to K-hole as a guard in like the fucking LAX compound.
Worst situation
Whilst
since the
freshly
Irish guy
attacking.
who like was in a K-hole with Mary McAleese.
Yeah, while your base is under attack, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, boys.
I did too much. It was all folded up in a little origami thing, and it got on my hand, and I had to do all of it. I couldn't put it back. Fuck.
So they bring in Solo and Kuryakin. They pull up the map at a sort of like weirdly, awkwardly slow rate that like is hanging on one wall to reveal the gas chamber. Actually, they do this 2 times, and it's like out of sync both times. Solo offers the guard his grapes on the way out, which is a nice little touch. And then, like, the idea is, right, we're going to put you in the fucking gas chamber, and then you're going to get Sissy hypnoed.
Yeah.
At the last second, I think this is, like, as the gunfight is breaking out with Steve and Annika, they, like, seize advantage of seize the opportunity and, like, grab one of the dude's guns. They, like, make a grab for the guy's service weapon.
Yeah,
shootout.
A free and legal thrill.
Mm-hmm. In the course of which, Leslie Nielsen...
He gets put in the sissy hypno chamber.
Yeah, he gets...
Put him in the sissy hypno
gets punched
chamber.
into the sissy hypno chamber as Ilya and Solo run away. And, like, this is fucking terrifying. Like, Leslie Nielsen really sells this. Like, as it's, like, racing up and filling with gas, and they're like, we can't stop it. It's irreversible. And like, he fucking sells, like, being scared. Be like, get me out of here. Like, you can't hear him because it's, like, soundproof. But he's, like, trying to shoot his way out and, like, bash his way out with his gun. And it's, like, it's really scary.
What it legitimately
He's so good.
is a played completely straight and good piece of mime.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He really is doing the, like, trapped in a glass box mime thing, but, like, completely
Like,
straight.
tries to hold his breath when the gas comes in, but he can't hold it forever. And, like, the scientists are just, like, watching him like, fuck. Like...
Well, Kingsley's kind of like, maybe I could be into this, actually. Which is kind of like how you know he's evil. He's like, well, you know, now we're doing it.
Yeah.
See if it works or not.
Like,
Yeah, he's like, well, shit, the 7 wonders are down to 5 at this point. That's fine. Don't worry.
but he gets gassed. He's a bottom now. He comes out wearing the cat ears.
He does. Yeah.
He's like totally suggestible, has no initiative of his own.
Yeah. They say, why don't you come out? And he goes, I haven't been told to. And it's like, whoa.
And he like key smashes for a bit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, outside, Solo and Kuryakin are nailing a like 26 times combo of perfect guy falling off of a ledge shots. That was the one stunt they had left in this. Guy falls off ledge. It's like fucking Sam Peckinpah in this shit. Like, every motherfucker is falling off of a ledge. Meanwhile, Mrs. Kingsley and Webb arrive, and we see that the betrayal has been orchestrated at the hands of our beloved missile defense guy, Mr. Missile. He's the guy who's done it. He gassed everybody. He was like, hey, do you want to do a bunch of ketamine exactly 30 minutes before you go on shift? And they were like, don't mind if I do. Sounds delightful. So, you know, never trust a missile guy.
Easy mistake.
Great anime betrayals. Kingsley like has a scene where he's like looking for his keys in a hallway full of dead guards and then runs into his wife. And
The great fallacy of the uncle villain, not knowing where your keys are.
Not knowing where your keys are. She is wearing what I can only describe as a plastic hat.
She is serving cunt, is what she's fucking doing.
Yes, she is.
And Webb is eating that cunt. It's being served up and he's eating it.
That's right.
Yes. they get in the big conference room and they pull guns on him.
This is insanely hardcore, the dialogue here.
Yeah, it goes
She
fucking
uses
hard.
the evil voice. She legitimately almost does the line from the joke about using the evil voice.
Yeah.
You're a fool, Robert. A sick fool.
Oh, there is also one other thing that I neglected to mention, which is in the previous gunfight, there's an alarm going off the whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
And this is maybe a loud drop, so I apologize. Maybe I can like dial this down. So I swear to God, the alarm is a guy going, like fucking Tina Belcher, because it sounds like this. And that lasts for like 3 minutes. Like, uninterrupted in the background of all of this
The
shit.
sound of me after jumping through the plate glass window to escape a party.
It's me playing cuffleball.
Kingsley tries to reason with her, and he's like, "Come on, we're saving the world by doing this." And she says, "Humanity's dirt, and it always will be." He
We
tries
also
to
get
argue, and
what-
she
what
says,
they- what they
"I have a
crave."
gun, and that proves I'm right.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
got that drop,
reality
baby."
of power."
I have the gun, and that proves I'm right. That's the reality of power.
And I wrote, okay, but she
Insanely
is
hardcore.
serving.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then she serves some more because she goes, you know what people want isn't like, you know, kindness or peace or whatever. It's like like a whip in the hand
Yeah.
of a master.
Webb says
You
people
were
don't-
never a master.
people don't want to be enlightened. Webb says, and it's like, God damn, that fucking goes hard.
And also check out this fucking Tumblr daddy dom shit, you know. But so he like uses his superior criminal mind, right, his criminal brain on them, because he goes, General Leslie Nielsen, kill him, which he does effortlessly because he had a gun
picks
the
up
whole
gun and goes
time.
bam, bam, puts it
I
down
would have
again.
taken that off
It was
him
like-
personally, but all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we see that he like is grieving his unfaithful evil wife, which
Does
is
he
nice.
obey
I like
any
that he's not, like,
command he's given by anybody, or is it only Kingsley? Never mind, answers on a postcard, please.
anyone.
At this point,
Yeah.
I wrote down Ilya and Solo entirely unrelated to the plot at this point.
Yeah, they steal a plane which has rockets on it. They're like circling the
Incredible
building.
how little bearing they are having at present. It's
Yeah,
all
it's like
Steven and his
Goldfinger rules.
girlfriend. Yeah, 100%.
Mhm. And so, having thus grieved, Kingsley goes to the console, to try and fucking activate the gas and enslave humanity, and they perfectly nail him with a rocket. He ends up in like the Yamcha death pose, which I really
does,
like.
yeah.
We
He's,
see
like,
his
got
bloody
one arm.
corpse, which is
Yeah.
we don't often see that in Uncle. And also we see that Uncle, they kind of repatriate his body. Uncle takes possession of Kingsley's body in like a coffin. And there's this moment where like Solo reflects on what he said, and it's like, did we do the right thing by doing this? Like, and Waverly's like, yes, don't worry about it.
Waverly's like,
Thanks,
it
Waverly.
was the same thing for you. And then we
Waverly's
see,
like if during For Your Eyes Only they just had cutaways to Bernard Lee in a hospital bed going, what? It's what they're
What
doing
do
with
you know
Waverly here.
about?
It's
What
like
do you know
elder
about this
abuse, what they're doing.
ketamine shit they've got me on?
This boy is
So-
intubated. There's nothing happening here. My man is out.
Yeah.
Leo Carroll, rest in
But
fucking
then-
peace, man.
The last shot of both this and the series, The Man from Uncle,
Really well composed.
is like them getting fucking General Leslie Nielsen, who is still like this forever, like purely like permanently suggestible, permanently sissy hypnoed, on the plane, and then the plane just fucking
good
leaves.
poppers.
They just go. You know, it ends abruptly because it's like halfway into the season, and it's a really downbeat ending of just like, yeah, no man, maybe sometimes you gotta like to kill a guy with a rocket. Bye.
I liked it.
But I mean, we will be back.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
was really good.
accidentally a really like
Yeah.
good downbeat ending. But like, god damn, dude. What a note to sort of end on, or at least to end on for a while, because of course we will be back for 2 more of these. But that's how to steal the world. I mean, the world's not really stolen.
They were
It's
trying
more
to steal
sissified,
it.
really. But
Yeah, How to Sissified the World would
Yeah.
have been a better name, but obviously
yeah, I guess so.
they hadn't created that word yet. So
What do we have to say about How to Steal the World, other than how good a pun I Steve in stereo is?
I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah,
I think some
I
of the
think it's good.
directorial choices are unusual. The extreme close-ups, some of the editing is a bit weird, and like technically it's not brilliantly made, but like the writing kind of fucking goes hard. Like they really put effort into this.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things Leslie Nielsen gets all the hardest lines. One of the things he says to his boys before they were about to like start out of heaven is like, you are about to end military history. You are going to be the last soldiers on Earth, which it's like, it's intense shit to grapple with.
No, they'd be like,
And,
well,
like-
that just happened. Like, it's amazing. Like, and perhaps it's because it's an old-fashioned way of speaking that it just comes across as having a greater gravitas than modern dialogue does.
Yeah,
but it's
really
it's a good film.
It's really good. To my mind,
Absolutely.
if I can tell that you're doing something with the way you're shooting something, I'll usually quite like it. So the fact that there are so many like extreme close-ups as like a choice, I found to be quite fun. It definitely sets it apart from the rest of them. I don't know how effective it is in instilling what you're supposed to get out of it, but I massively enjoyed that they were doing things.
I think this is my favorite uncle villain too. I really like Kingsley.
Yeah, Kingsley's good because
I'm not sure if it's my favorite villain or not.
I
don't
think
know,
Kingsley's
but
good because he's very clearly, he's doing this in pursuit of a better world, but there's definitely a moment which he becomes irredeemable, and you can like see him make the choice to be irredeemable. I think that's really solid.
I mean, it's like a much more provocative and ideologically interesting as a villainous plan than like, I will break the 10 Commandments and then question mark fall out of a window.
Rule the
What?
world.
And then I'm gonna get blown up accidentally through no action of the good guy. What? Like, no, this is like an interesting plan.
Yeah, at least they actually blow this guy up on them by their own like
And I think
accord.
Yeah, the actor like really sells it. They're just like, no, I'm 110% committed to this. I know how serious it is, and I'm doing it. It's like, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a gas. Love a
That's
gas.
true.
And a gas.
We do love a gas. We do love that gas.
We fucking love that guy. Go on.
Smoking
Yes.
that gas, Batman.
Isn't clear.
I'm gonna miss 60s Uncle. I'm gonna miss it a lot. The aesthetic and everything. I love seeing the stuff that it's influenced. Growing up, like my favorite thing ever was No One Lives Forever, the video game, which like now is in copyright hell. And it owes so much to this, and like seeing the sort of like the through lines has been very nice for me.
I'm gonna miss the 60s a great deal because I don't really think there's another series that we can do in this season that is almost entirely in the 60s. For the upcoming and much lauded crimes season that we keep pretending.
Yeah, robbery season.
Yeah, robbery season. I do want to do all of the Pink Panther movies because there's a remarkably large amount of them, and they're also all in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. Our next thing after doing a couple more uncles is going to probably be Mission Impossible, which is going to take us into like the 90s.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to change
down.
gear, do something a bit more modern, a bit more action oriented. We can always come back to the 60s and 70s.
On the other hand, it's gonna suck. I like the 60s more. But we have a science-based rating system on this podcast that allows us to make these sorts of determinations. It's called the SCUM system. It stands for SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. So, on a scale of 0 to 7, how smarmy is How to Steal the World?
Not very, to be honest. Like,
It's pretty low, isn't it?
I think, and also we take points off for sincerity and just like having Napoleon Solo have an honest to God like ideological back and forth with the villain, being like, this is blasphemous, like this is wrong, you can't do this. I really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah, I honestly think it might be like I think there's a little bit of like the fun back and forth we enjoy with like Napoleon and Ilya. With the like, how do I inject the word help with dignity, which is fun. Yeah. But I think only like kicks it up to a 1.
Yeah, I could go for 1.
Yeah, I can't think of a single like smarmy line at all. So yeah, 1.
Yeah. Cultural insensitivity.
By omission again is all it is. We've got the 7 greatest minds in the world, and it's all like white. It's not all white men. White. There's one woman, but it's all whites.
Oops, all white.
Hong Kong is sort of like not appreciably like it's the same as New York, but you have some like Buddha statues in your house.
The Himalayas are in California.
Do you want to know one fucking thing though? All of the big geniuses are all white, but remember when Solo wakes up in the location, all of the attendant women are Asian.
Yes.
So what the fuck does that say, huh? I think that's
no longer
just omission. That's active.
commission. Yeah,
and that's also just like Asian women being servile and
100%.
Yeah.
Kingsley was on some weeb shit, you know?
3?
We got to say like a 3, yeah.
Unprovoked violence. The film is kind of about that.
Yeah. Like I'm sort of loath to punish it for that when it engages with it in a way that, like, especially for 1968, it's pretty fucking like thoughtful, you know?
Yeah, hard to say.
They do sort of knowingly or semi-knowingly condemn Leslie Nielsen to being permanently bimbofied, in a sort of like hoist by your own petard way.
Yeah,
but it's
they
also
could
not
have tried
unprovoked.
Yeah, true.
Not, yeah. There's nothing unprovoked that we're supposed to forgive on the part of Uncle, and a lot of the unprovoked violence is supposed to like textually show us that this like greater mission is inherently failing because
the violence that Uncle commits is explicitly called into question by the film. Actually, it's like, well, it's left ambiguous whether this is justified or not. So.
And there's no Uncle chops.
Yeah,
none.
True.
Not any. So.
Fuck. This movie sucks then. Actually,
there's 0 then.
Yeah, okay.
Now, misogyny. Well, I mean, we have a capable, evil, sexually betraying woman, which is like a bunch of misogynist anxieties rolled into one, right? We got a sort of a dutiful filial daughter, who isn't really that drawn as a character and is like needs, like, she has a gun and her first action is to like give it to a dude named Steve.
Yes.
Which
Robert Vaughn doesn't try and fuck her though.
That's true. Robert Vaughn, like, not really fucking anyone in this movie.
Yeah, hasn't. He's gotten like a 0 pussy MF for the last few
His
films.
dick is not getting wet. I mean, if anything, quite the opposite, given that he's in a salt flat for most of it.
He'll just dry his hands on his jeans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I think it is a bit. It's sort of like surprisingly sort of like forward about like, oh, this woman's fucking, but in a way that is designed to both titillate and also be like, because she's evil.
Yeah, I mean, in the Uncleverse, women are definitely in support roles unless they are evil. And also, like, when they aren't in
just
support
like in
roles,
real
it's
life,
because they're duplicitous.
If you want to be like a real sort of like agent in your own life as a woman, you have to start lying for fun and like being evil. And that, you know, that's what led me to start podcasting. And you know, it'll take you to great places in your career and also, you know, allow you to fuck a lot more.
So it sure will.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Hoppers. Fucking, I don't know, 2.
Really?
4. I don't know. I'm ready to be done.
I'm looking at the score
one.
sheet, and this is kind of important.
Put it 3.
The standard number when you're hedging it, 3. 3 is the number where we hedge our bets, so 3.
Okay, that gives this a total score of 7. 007, which makes it the best Uncle film we've watched by some way, but not quite the best film we've ever watched. It's on a par with View to a Kill and Bourne Supremacy, but the best film we've ever watched is still The Bourne Identity on 6. So
that fits. That fits to me because I don't think it is the best film we've ever watched, but it's in contention. It's you know, sort of within a hair's breadth of it.
Definitely, I agree. I think it's my favorite of the Uncles.
This is 100%
sorry, that's not true. Spy with My Face is still my favorite. As problematic as it is, it's just funny for being stupid.
I mean, like, imagine trying to put The Vault in this movie. Like, how would you?
Oh god, the vault! The vault!
I think about the vault every couple of minutes. Actually, it's constantly in my head.
I've become obsessed with this too because, like, in the course of looking at these, I look at what episodes they come from, and I look at like a list of Uncle episodes, and oh man, they did some fucking episodes. You know, there's one in here with like a possessed hula doll. There's a fucking perfume atomizers with a secret formula. There's one where like Solo and Kuriakin have to become roommates. It's like all of the just getting a one-line synopsis of a Man from U.N.C.L.E. episode is a perfect, tantalizing little glimpse. And now it's about to like slip out of my reach.
Yeah,
you know?
There is a degree to which I do want to just like watch these. Obviously not for the podcast because there's 800,000, but I would just like in my own time to watch some of these.
It's like 106, 105 episodes.
Yeah, beautiful.
But
there's one more film, The Return of the Man from U.N.C.L.E., the 15 Years later affair.
Right.
It's a full-length film. I just looked it up. It's 96 minutes long. So we'll have a full Uncle film to go out on before we bid goodbye to Robert Vaughn and David McCallum. And then there'll be one left, the super cancel version.
Yes.
Let's fucking go.
In the meantime, the next bonus episode is gonna be.
Motherfucker.
Listen. All right. I'm gonna say
bet
one
I
thing.
can sideline you off this.
Selected to serve me, you took a personal oath of loyalty. I now invoke that pledge of unquestioning obedience.
The next bonus episode, Pedro Almodóvar's Todo sobre mi madre. That's what it's gonna be, or fucking else. Thank you for listening.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a Patreon, and you can subscribe to it, and you should, in order to hear that. And we will return with 15 Years Later Affair, the band from Uncle brackets, old brackets, twink death.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. Now, if you are listening to this on the free feed, it is my solemn duty to inform you that the winter of content has come to its conclusion. It is no longer winter. I went out on my balcony earlier and I did the sort of Punxsutawney Phil thing, and I went, we will not have 6 more weeks of winter. In fact, we will have 6 more weeks of content, but that content will be behind the iron paywall. And speaking of the iron paywall, we would be nothing without the love and support of our £15 and above patrons, and those are Candy Fox, Freya Aloysius, congrats on the fucking kendo tournament, by the way, Freya, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Mike Berg, Hannah Oberhart, Nick Boris, Kentucky Fried Commie, Yarrick, Nato Mori, Cohen Enright, Harriet Cock, Devon's Secret Nemesis, Labor Delenda Est, a girl named Cat and a cat named Dreadful, Ozymandias, Beef Crime, Library Hitman, Max Gamenhart, Callan Burney, Jack Drummond, Jonathan Gerde, Kit Divine, Hell, Jay Martindale, Lysamesh, Jonathan Siegel, Tarp O, Big Titty Goth Girl, Harrison Fuller, Mothman, George Rohack, Trip, Isopod Gal, Clara Roasting Marshmallows, Oh No It's Andrew 95, Violet Cybra, Alex, The Spy Who Ruined My Marriage, Liz and Ash in Florida, A Trans Robot, Men's Room Louie, Ronan, Annie Ruby, Connor's Cool Big Sister, Warscott, Safira Lucifera, Maz, how you doing Maz, Zoe Shepherd, Emily has given up on jokes. Sorry to hear that, Emily. I hope that's not my fault. Elizabeth Cox, Finn Ross, Quinn Valeri, Roll History Pod, Josie, Alfredo, Artemis Potter and Elizabeth Ball, Turfsy, Shit and Die Alone, Grey Area, Wolfie, Al Irving, Robert Greensmith, Millie, Josh Simmons, Lauren Bastin, and Loz Pycock. Thank you all so much. Kill James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer, the wonderful Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Matty Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. And I have an announcement to make in a few weeks' time. See ya.